All right. What the hell is going on, everybody? And welcome back. We've got ourselves a big best of 7 series between Oliveira, the reigning world champion, in the top left side of the map, and of course his opponent in the bottom right. It's Rogue. Rogue is back from his military service, one of the greatest players of all time, and this is one of his first tournaments back. Over the next few days, I do want to be really delving into how good Rogue is and seeing, hey, is he getting back on the horse instantly? Is he close but not quite there? Or is he looking like he hasn't practiced at all while he was in the military? Because you never know. Rogue was kind of famous for being one of those players who didn't practice that hard compared to a lot of the other top players. But just whenever he'd see something that was really favored, like Swarm Host Nidus or this or that, he'd just jump on, find ways to win, and become the most brutally intelligent players at just destroying his opponents and ripping them to shreds. So I cannot wait to see how he does against the reigning world champ. Now, you might be thinking, wait a second, isn't Cyril the world champ? No, Cyril won Katowice, but remember, Katowice is not the world championship this year, because that's going to be over at EWC in Saudi Arabia. So Oliveira gets to be world champion for an extra half a year, essentially. We don't even know exactly when that tournament will be, but since it hasn't been announced yet, we're already in April. I imagine it's in the latter third of the year, maybe in August or something, I would guess. I have no idea. I don't actually know when it is. So this is not me being like secretive and hinting at things that I know. Point being, though, I do think that that's kind of cool for Oliveira to be there. On the other hand, Oliveira is still not really lived up to some of the people's expectations, especially his own expectations after winning that world championship, right? He's good, but being rank 15 in the world or so is not the same as being rank 5 or rank 3 or one of these guys who's right there at the very pointy end of tournaments every single time. Now, he's going to skip the scout to start, go for a Reaper, expand, very standard opening. Rogue's gone for a 16 hatchery, 18 gas, 17 pool. Now, interestingly, he sends a drone down here. Oh, no, that's standard. That's standard. Never mind. Yep, 4 lings, 2 queens. Oh, he doesn't build an overlord yet. He built a 21 drone instead of an overlord. That is bizarre. So I think he's going to go... Oh, he's going ling speed and 6 lings before 3rd hatchery. Okay, very, very safe against things like 2 racks or Reaper for Rogue to start things off, but not as economic as a lot of the players like to open these days. Lings are here. Oh, he's got to be careful. Good pullback on the weak Zerglings. I like watching this because I'm just like, how many mistakes is he going to make? Because we expect more mistakes when a player's back from the military. They just don't have as many reps. They're not as up to date with the meta. But so far, good micro, 3rd hatchery's down. He's built a bunch of drones behind it. He does have a creep tumor going down, and with the lings there to help protect, that's a pretty early creep tumor, so very well done. I like the way he used all 6 lings to protect that. Now, he's got 2 queens up. 3rd queen does start for Rogue on the natural, and that's solid. Drones, Overlord building. He'll no doubt build another Overlord near. He's going to be clearing these depot. Yeah, Rogue's looking good, man. Command center goes up number 3. For Oliveira, swaps his factory over, and it's going to be a Hellion reactor into 2-1-1. So 2 barracks opening, just looking to rush straight up to the medevac marine stage of the game, rather than extending things into the, say, Hellion Liberator or Hellion Banshee stage. Ooh. Oh, he's going to get the tumor. No, he misclicked on the queen. One of the big problems when you're trying to target that creep tumor is the queen is really a big booty lass. She is big and fat, and it's hard to click on the creep tumor when she's nearby, because you're going to notice, because look at this, my cursor's not even over the circle, but if you just hover over the tentacles that are sticking out or anything like that, or her big booty, you still click on her, even though I'm clicking here, not actually on the base of her. So that's one of the things, because of the queen has a lot of protuberances, she's got a lot of bits sticking out. It's if she's near the creep tumor, a lot of the time you go to click on the creep tumor, you accidentally click on the queen instead. And that's what happened for Oliveira, so he missed one shot, doesn't get the tumor. But he doesn't lose the Reaper, so it's not a big deal. 3rd base droning up, very low Zergling count, only 6 so far. He's not super duper safe if he's worried about Hellions running in, but this is just the first 2 Hellions. So I think this is the right way to play it. You've got queens up front. Rogue does have his queens split into 2 groups. That is the modern way of doing things. Good to see he's done that. And on the other side, Stim's on the way. We will have the starport swap over for the medevac production in the near future. Oliveira's not finding any damage. On the other hand, he doesn't need to find damage with this sort of opening. Finally gets himself a creep tumor at least. Now, Rogue's still building queens, guys. He's going to 9 queens before Lair. I think he's going to go Lair on the natural, and I would imagine he's still just playing Banelings. I can't imagine Rogue's doing anything different. Yeah, Lair, 2nd and 3rd gas. Okay, so he's not only wanting to go Baneling speed, he's probably either wanting to sneak Mutas out very early or just go for the double Evo pretty quickly as well. Notice he's already going to 4 gas as well. And if you go for all those gases at once, you can actually just explode And it's a rule of one gas. Saturated on these 3 mineral lines. Yep, double Evo goes down on 5 minutes. Baneley Nest just after. Classic opening for Rogue. 9 queens keeps you really safe. So even if there's a Hellbat timing, 9 queens can defend just about anything. Because around this time, I mean, to be fair, he's put so many tumors down, it might have actually caught him out. Because he only just now got his first creep tumor, or transfuse energy, I should say. So a Marauder Hellbat may have actually caught him off guard and done damage just because he was so greedy on his creep spread that he hasn't actually saved any safety energy for transfuse. Which, to be fair, he's going to get away with, so that's just fine. Double drop of Stim Marines comes in. It's not that many Marines, but it's good enough. That's going to be a good 14 Stim Marines, 2 Aliens, and a Reaper. Queens don't have a lot of transfuse energy. The Lynx try to come in to do damage whenever the Queens are getting attacked. Oh, 2 Queens go... Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Oh, okay. He does get punished for not saving transfuse energy because he just doesn't have enough transfuses for his Queens. So few Zerglings as well. Oh, way too greedy here for Rogue. Way too greedy against the Medevac Marine follow-up. On the other hand, he does send a Zergling run by in, but he only gets 1 SCV. Units lost tab fantastic for Oliveira to start. However, Oliveira did lose a Medevac. And 1-1 upgrades are on the way as well as a Baneling speed. Ooh, okay. We've got all these gases going up. I just realized for those watching live, I haven't set up the bracket command today. You guys can remind me to set that up after this game. This is, of course, the WTL show match. Now, for those who don't know, it's a $200 winner-takes-all best of 7, which is kind of brutal. If you don't win, you get no money. Which is, as a player, I'm like, oh god, man. It's brutal, but hey, it is more competitive in a way. You really do not want to lose in these sort of matches, otherwise you get nothing for your time. Armory's on the way, 5 Rax reactors coming up. Tanks are coming forward. He's going to go for a push. Ooh, combat shields and 1-1 are almost done. Ling's looking for a run by. I like that move. If he gets them in on top of those Marines, that could be massive. He's just going to go for the 3rd mineral line. Rogue here with some great run by potential, but Oliveira's coming home with everything. He's not trying to push at the same time. He's saying, that's fine. Oh, the SCVs. Careful, careful. Did he lose a single SCV there? He lost 1 SCV. 1 SCV goes down. Oh, that's sucky. Second factor. I mean, it's not that many Zerglings. You do buy time. Your creep's pretty good. Just one of those things you're like, well, I really want to get a Baneling or something in here to finish all these damaged SCVs off, right? I want to get in there with another run by in the future. 4th base down the south. Looking good. 2-2 upgrades are on the way. 4th command center building. We've got tanks dropping on that far right side. Okay. I mean, they kind of reach. Yeah, you can just drop in. This is an annoying push. It's not a high impact push. It's a this is frustrating to clear out sort of push. A couple of Marines do get taken out, but he can just keep loading and unloading there. Rogue does go for a counterattack. Looks like that does get cleaned up. The Marines are solid at home. Medevacs are forced to pick up the Marines and pull away momentarily. Rogue is under high pressure right now. He's got 1-1 upgrades. He's got a lot of Ling Bane. The Queens are going to come forward to take those tank shots. Those tanks need to retarget. Notice he's trying to retarget on the Banelings. That's why he's doing that. The tanks take out the front row of Banelings. The Marines are trading very well against the Zerglings. There's not many Marines here, so this should get cleaned up. But man, it is not super efficient for Rogue. Oliveira does clean up pretty much everything. He flies straight through the Queens. That was a bit of oh my gosh. Well, there's only one word for that, isn't there, guys? It's a letter and a number that go together. Hit that F2, baby. Hit that F2. For those who don't know, F2 is the select all army key. And I think he lazily just thought, if I F2 my whole army to the middle of the map, those medevacs will kind of fly this way. But of course they didn't. They flew straight through the Queens, loses 2 of them. A little bit sloppy from Ollie. Does cost him a couple of those. I like that he's swapping into mines now, sorry. He's got a reacted factory up. He's also building 3 more tech labs. So he's going to go into Marauder Widow Mine as the transition. And Rogue's kind of stuck on this slightly lower tech. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's building Hydras, which is great, but he has forgotten the Muscular Augments, which is a very important upgrade for those Hydras. And he's only on 77 workers. I think Rogue is perfectly fine. He's not dead. But at the same time, it is a little worrying because there's going to be another maxed out push soon. And, well, actually, his creep's not bad, especially if he keeps spreading the creep on all sides. Yeah, no, I think he can handle the next push. It's just about having the numbers in the right position. Muscular Augments gets, remember, 2-2s on the way. I think Oliveira is going to try and fight with 2-2 against 1-1. The job here of Rogue is to threaten as if he wants to engage, but not actually commit to it until your 2-2 is finished. You got to buy yourself about a minute. And I think he should be able to do that. Hive and Lurkaden are on the way. I mean, this is pretty solid play for Rogue. Very standard right now, not really showing any of the special spice of Rogue. But to be fair, it's Zerg vs. Terran, and Zerg vs. Terran was always Rogue's most standard matchup. because it is just such a mechanical, straight-up matchup. Not as tricky as Zerg vs. Protoss or Zerg vs. Zerg. That Widowmine on the right gets a massive hit. I do like the flank on the top left. Hydraling Bane tries to come in, but overall, that was a great fight for Oliveira. Rogue's topside flank was not well timed. It came in a bit too slow, and remember, without muscular augments, those Hydras off creep kind of suck. He's got to keep just biding time. I think he's a bit too eager to engage there, was Rogue. Remember, like I said, he's got to buy time for the upgrades. Now those upgrades are finishing, but he's already traded out a lot of units, and he is down 3,000 resources in the units lost. Now, you can see Oliveira here. He's going to try and move that tank into this position. He's just trying to create an annoyance. This is not a big push. It is a distraction while more units move into the north. He's looking for good trades. Oh, the Banelings are getting hammered! Oh my god! Oh my gosh! Oh, that's so bad for Rogue. He does finally get a big Baneling hit on the Marines, but only after they've done massive damage. He does move the Spore over to help out, but that was huge. That was huge for Oliveira, focusing down almost all the Banelings before they could connect. He's adding Concussive, +3 armor, and a Ghost Transition behind it. 3 command centers are building as well, setting himself up for the late game. As long as he keeps Rogue stuck here just trading on lair tech, Rogue is losing trades. He even saves the siege tank in the north. Dude, Oliveira still having tanks alive from the early game. I don't know how. I guess he built 8 siege tanks this game. He's lost 4 of them. He's still got 4 alive. And Rogue is desperate to put some pressure back on Oliveira. He doesn't want to just be purely on the defense. He will find a command center, which is a good catch. It's always a good kill there. It doesn't even get a cancel. Oliveira gets a lot of orbitals up, then you are screwed. Oceanborn's one of the best maps for Terran versus Zerg late game. They can section off part of the maps, build planetaries everywhere, and there's just nowhere to use your mobility advantage because it's such a small, cramped map. So, oh, here we go. Lurkers are ready. No Nidus Worm, though, guys. I mean, when you're on the back foot like this, I feel like Nidus Worm is essential. How many times have we seen the Terran winning on the offense? But they're slowly winning. They're slowly taking efficiency advantages, and then the moment you get a Nidus in the back, suddenly Terran's on the defensive, Zerg's the one running Lurkers into all the bases, popping stuff out in the back, and they turn the game around. Rogue hasn't found the room to do that. He's trying to jump on the front. The Ling Bane does actually get a decent fight. The Lurker's burrowing on top of the army. He hot pickups. Oliveira gets his army trounced, and Rogue, well, you don't need to Nidus Worm if you could just flank their army, do ya? There's not many siege tanks left right now. There's a few Widow Mines, but the bio, there's so little bio left. The Ling Bane got in there with a great fight. There's a tank on the high ground. Widow Mines are trying to fire. He's trying to get his bio behind his wall on the left. That third mineral line is going to be absolutely gone. It's forfeited, mate. The Lurkers are getting slowly sniped and cleared by the tanks. I think Ollie has enough scans to clear this up eventually, but he lost a command center without lifting it. He's got another command center there, very low. He does finally lift that one. Another command center almost finished building on the front. It almost died. We need SCVs to repair that command center. Losing 17 workers is not the end of the world. Holding on and then just rebuilding that wall, finishing this command center, and continuing to defend your bases is important. But this base on the left sticks out like a sore thumb. It is super exposed. I like the idea of taking that and then pushing towards this ridgeline and really denying these southern bases. But now, there's actually Rogue who's been attacking. He's trying to distract Rogue up here and buy time. This is not a, I'm going to kill you. This is a, I'm going to distract you and make you chase me around while hopefully I have time to remax. Oliveira, dropping mills, dropping SCVs. He's still not repairing it, dude. Okay, there he is. He is repairing it, sorry. 2 SCVs are repairing. That command center will not burn down. He's got a planetary down here as well. How many orbitals are we up to? 5 orbitals, more command centers. This one's still not building. He's still a bit distracted. Oh, look at that, guys. Rogue is making use of the pervert Zerglings. So for those who don't know, we have pervert pillars, pervert overlords. This is the pervert Zergling. When you just burrow Zerglings, they're half a supply, 25 minerals, and they're so good for vision. If you can put a few of these in areas off creep where they're not going to get scanned, it gives you vision of your opponent's army. And if they do happen to get spotted, it's not like losing an infestor. It's not expensive. It's so cheap. Couple Lings get into the mineral line. He's going to pick off the reactor. The factory on the third is very popular, but it is very exposed. Ling Bane rolling in. Oh, the Banelings. Oh, massive hit. Nice trade for Rogue. Distracts in the north, rolls into the south. But can he get punished? Oliveira should be able to deny this base now, right now. Oliveira is up in army supply. He's got a good force. You can see Rogue's units all coming down on the minimap, though, to this area. He's got to make sure he kills the hatchery and then pulls back, I'd say. A scan would be nice. He's going to take out the rest of the drones on that base. Great catch there for Oliveira. Really nice counter swing, and I think he can rebuild this base on the south and be A-okay. Lingbane Hydra jumps on top. There's plenty of bio to the north coming in to reinforce. Oh, the Banelings are getting on top, though. The Ghosts are getting jumped on. It's a lot of Zerglings. Is this enough for Rogue? This is a crazy fight for Rogue. The Overseer goes down. The Cloak Ghosts are not being hit by anything right now. The Cloak Ghosts will stand strong, but everything else will get overrun. Hydra, Ling doing what it can right now. If he can kill a lot of these SCVs, it might be worth it. The lack of Overseers is starting to hurt him, though, as the Hydras and the Banes do get sniped. That one pervert Zergling somehow survived that entire escapade, as it did not get scanned. But at the units lost tab, 9,000 resource lost advantage to Oliveira. If Oliveira can hang on to this base, he's got a chance of getting back in it, but it's looking kind of dire because Rogue's migrated his economy to these top 2 bases. He's still got a very good over 3,000 minerals a minute income, and Rogue is showing an understanding of how to swing it on the south, and then guess what? You know he's going to counterattack this north at some point. But the problem is, the libs in the tank, there's no answer to these. If he had like a Viper, abduct, Lings ransack this whole base. Hydras ransack that whole base. But as it is, he's super focused on the south. This means Oliveira only needs to defend this one point. On the other hand, Oliveira's army sucks. It's a few Ghosts, a couple Marauders and Marines. Remember, he lost his reactor, guys. He lost his reactor. It's just back up now, but he doesn't have any Widow Mines down here. No siege tanks, no libs on the south. The Planetary does take a lot of Banelings to blow up at least, so that's one thing going for him. And it is killing a few of these Zerglings. A couple of these units do go down. Ollie's very wary of getting surrounded if he goes too far into the open. He's got some libs, mines, and bio building. His +3 range never finished for his bio, whereas 3/3 melee carapace is done for Zerg, and Rogue goes for the Banelings, but Banelings on their own will not kill that Planetary, and a bit of a derpy trade for Rogue. He kills a few SCVs, he damages the Planetary, but he does not kill it, and that, I think, actually may let Oliveira back into this game. He starts a new command center, he's repairing this one, he's still got this base up and mining, this base is untouched. Liberator Harass came in and forced the Queens up north. Maybe that was part of what distracted Rogue in the midst of that. Rogue, he's in a very good spot, but he's kind of just stuck on Lingbane Hydra. No Vipers. No Burrowed Infestors looking for the catch. No Nidus Worms. And if you're going to play this style, you can do it. You don't need those fancy tools, but you need to really swarm in and do big damage. Hitting into the natural in the third, I think, is probably great. And then the next Remax, or have enough Banelings split off to blow up the Planetary while Ollie's distracted. But if you don't get rid of this southern base, or trade against these other ones in the back, well, I mean, this is going to be very hard as the game goes on. Nice scan. The scan sees what's going on. He's got some Lingbane Hydra down there. He's making a lot of Banelings there. A lot of Banelings. He's going to go for it. Wow! Going for it, Rogue, the crazy man. He doesn't actually have that many Banelings right now. The Ghosts are there. Banes are trickling through. The Ghosts have started stepping away. The Ghosts have been getting hit by some of these. Banelings going for the mineral line. Are they going to be able to take out the Planetary? I don't think so. They do clear the mineral line, though. And oh, they barely get the Planetary. That was an expensive trade, but killing that base is huge. There's a new command center next to it, but down to 45 workers is so bad for Oliveira. And look at that, guys. He's got a second round of mass Banelings down here. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's enough to kill the second command center. He's hiding them for the next wave. Rogue is such a trickster. Hatchery does get cancelled. Oliveira's trying to counterpush, saying, dude, you just sacrificed too much army. You can't defend my counterpush. Rogue is going to Baneling flank him. He's going to flank with mass Baneling from behind. I feel like if the medevacs just pick up and get out, this should be fine for Oliveira, but he's got to react. He's got to react. That's a lot of Banelings from behind. He does pick up, save some of these units. The Widow Mines and Libs are still there. An awkward position to be in for Rogue. Rogue's out of money. Rogue spent his money, and he's got to get some Lings on this base. If he can get some Lings on this base, Oliveira's income is going to drop. He's got to counterattack. Exactly. Give up the base and counterattack. This is the move. Rogue. Oh, nice move for Rogue, but he doesn't have any detection with these Lings. He does get a few of those Ghosts, not cloaking instantly. Planetary over there will defend those Zerglings, though. Not the best angle for Rogue. Rogue is feeling the panic and the pressure right now. A few Lings do get on that mineral line. Like I talked about, a couple Lings there with 3/3 and Adrenal are massive. The other Lings have been cleaned up, it seems, though, or at least they are getting cleaned up steadily. This base does survive for Rogue, but remember, it's not got that much mining. This base, and the half base's mining are still there. He's still got good income, but without any Vipers coming in, I worry that these Libs are going to cause him massive problems. Normally, I go for Corruptors to deal with Libs, because he's already got Hydras. Just a few Vipers, I think, would be absolutely excellent. To be fair, with how many Ghosts have been built, the Marauders, and the movement on this map, there is a very strong argument that Burrowed Infestors would be game-winning. That pervert Zergling there still giving Rogue vision of this army. He's got a Changeling coming in as well. The Liberators are moving down. 12 Lurkers. Wow, that's a big gamble. Lurkers are very good at dealing with, like, Biomine, but Ghosts can outrange them, and they don't deal with Libs at all. And he's only got 3 Hydras. So I actually think this is either a checkmate or it's him throwing the game. I'm not sure which one. Rogue's going for a crazy counterattack with almost no anti-air. It's mass Lurker, Ling, Bane. He gets up in between the rallies, but he's not really in a killer position. And I do think that right now, Ollie, yeah, 2 Marauders come forward, kill the Southern Hatch. Ollie can pull back Siege Libs on this and deal with it. There's no anti-air. He's got more Hydras rallying out. You can see Hydras are starting to pop right now, guys, out of these bases and rally forwards. They're not there just yet. Liberators don't have range. They don't have ship weapons either. Rogue, he's set up in a position, but he's not doing anything with this position. He's trying to get Oliveira to make mistakes. Oliveira starts to snipe Lurkers, Banes, and Hydras down. And you can see you can't just sit on the edge of Terran territory, because then they can set up the fights that they need. And you can see Lurkers are just getting popped like so easily here. I think Rogue here, with this Lurker play, he doesn't have a clear direction of exactly what his goal is. It's not working out. Lurker on the south is doing good damage, though. That's a nice move. Ollie taking that orbital is absolutely insane. Trying to defend that base is crazy, man. Now, Oliveira is going to counterattack. He's not going to clean the army up. He feels like it's too hard to push through the Lurkers. The Lingbane Hydra is going to take out this planetary down here. My lord, okay, he is going to eliminate Oliveira's economy. This might actually work out for Rogue. Oh, his Overseers get left behind, though. A lot of his Lurkers did unburrow and move north. Right now, the Terran army does come forward. The base does survive. 17 drones fell. But guess what? He's able to get on top. The libs are falling. Those medevacs on the right side are exposed. The bio's going to try to stem in. But, dude, all those medevacs just went down in the top right of our screen. That is a big cost. 65 drones to 22 workers. It's worked out. Rogue created some awkward movement. And I think Oliveira needed to just chill and methodically defend this base. I think if he kept defending this base, he would have been okay. But because Rogue kind of got in between him and his base, Oliveira felt like it was going to be too hard to get down there to defend. He tried to split his army up, and that has massively favored Rogue. Rogue has split his army up so well, and he's all over it. Man, this is great to see, guys. Rogue is back large and in charge. And you know what? Lingbane Hydra is a solid comp. We literally just read an article at the start of today's live stream where after he won BlizzCon in end of 2017, at the start of 2018, there was an article on Team Liquid saying that he was a patch Zerg and that we're not sure, maybe he'll be great, but basically we know all the other champions are great for BlizzCon over the last 5 years, and we don't really know about him, and that we know that right now it just seems like he's a patch Zerg because he won that right after Hydra's got a 10 hit point buff. And it was kind of funny. You know, obviously we saw that. We were, oh, I never saw this article. That's crazy, calling him a patch Zerg, but obviously over time he did establish himself as one of the best in the world, and I think that was only that one writer's opinion anyway. But yeah, Rogue is a beast, man. Rogue is a beast. He's got such a big army. If he can get rid of these ghosts, there's not enough Widow Mines. There's no splash damage. The Overseers are not going down. And as long as the Overseers are there, you can see those cloaked ghosts. They get ran over. And Rogue, back from the military, straight into a winner-takes-all show match with the world champion. And he absolutely crushes through a very close, action-packed game 1. All right. That was a pretty damn exciting game 1 from Rogue. Stepped up to the plate, and I love the counterattacks because, yeah, it looked pretty bad for him, but he kind of just made it awkward for Oliveira, and Oliveira did crack a little bit under that pressure. I think Oliveira could have come back and defended that a little bit more methodically with Liberators and whatnot, but letting Rogue kind of outposition him like that, and then kind of going for the base trade, which we saw that it's a bit harder to push through there, and you know, the way Rogue got the single lurker behind the new base in the bottom, and then started busting his other bases while defending the top side of the map at the same time. So really good scramble by Rogue to get out of a kind of tight position. On the other hand, I think there's a few things. Remember I talked about how Rogue didn't save any energy for transfuse? This is a mistake sometimes every Zerg makes. And it's not even a mistake. Sometimes it's a conscious decision, right? Where you go, I just want to have crazy creep spread. And I'm going 9 queens, so I'm pretty safe. Like, you feel pretty safe when you build 9 queens because it's so many. But I think he may be a little more respectful. Just be like, you know what? I've got 8 creep tumors out. I don't need 12 creep tumors. Let's save a bit of energy for transfuse this time around. Now, no doubt Oliveira will do something different as well, and that will require a different set of responses from him. So far, though, exact same opening. Quick ling speed before 3rd hatchery, droning up after that. So this does slow down the drones a little bit, going 6 lings, going quick ling speed. But it gives you great control, and if he can defend that creep tumor, which he absolutely can, that'll be good. Don't want to lose the Zerglings. He just forces the Reaper to attack them a few times and then backs off. 3rd command center behind this for Ollie. That's standard these days. First few years of Legacy of the Void, it was not standard, but people realize delaying your Hellions by a few seconds, delaying your Starport by a few seconds is not the biggest deal. And, oh. 2nd gas before Starport. Hello. Interesting. Is he just going to do 2 barracks again? Then I feel like you can go the 2nd barracks before the 2nd gas. Interesting. I am very... Is he going to build a second factory? What's he doing, guys? Guys, what's Oliveira doing? It's a special build order. It's a very special build order. Double engineering bay! Oh, my man. Okay, guys, he's going to do a 2-2 8 racks all in. How do I know that? Why? There's just, almost always, if you're going to rush your upgrades this early, when 1-1 finishes, it's going to be so early, you don't even have that great an army to push yet, but it allows you to go straight into a super fast 2-2 at a disgustingly fast timing. And then if you're committing to that, you usually want to lean into it and try to do massive damage off it. Because it's like, hey, I got this huge upgrade advantage that you weren't even ready for. It does mean his early pressure is lighter. Like, he's only got 4 Hellions, and he's probably going to swap that off and build a barracks on that reactor now and build a bunch more barracks. But he's going to delay his starport a lot. 1-1's on the way. Stim. And as I said, that factory should be lifting off right now. No, he's building more Hellions. Oh, okay, he does block the scouting. Now, Oliveira, if he builds... if Rogue builds Spore Crawlers, that'd be bad for him. Because he could be like, okay, there's probably a starport there. Seeing Stim already... Would Stim be started at 4 minutes 15 if they were going Cloaked Banshees? I feel like it wouldn't. I feel like seeing Stim makes you think maybe it's just a Liberator. Yeah. Rogue's made that read. Rogue thinks it's a Liberator opening, which is why he's built a Spore here on the left, and he's decided, I can cover the main with Queens. We'll be fine. So he's just doing a minimal response there. Oh, okay. This is really interesting. Rogue is so on point with his scouting. Now, obviously, it's not the correct read, but it's the read you would expect because the builds that Oliveira is doing is very rare. This is not something you would predict unless you actually see the engineering base. And as you can see, guys, 5 barracks coming in. We'll see the starport in the near future and then a few more barracks. And it's just going to be like crazy fast timing. Armory goes down super early so that he can unlock 2-2 upgrades. Remember, Armory's cheaper and 2-2 upgrades are also cheaper because of the patch. Even though Widow Mines do a little bit less splash radius and stuff, and you need drilling claws to make them permanently invisible and stuff like that, it's actually really interesting to see this. Now, Rogue's playing the same style. Baneling Nest and Double Evo both go down at 5 minutes. The Lair came down at a good time. He's going to go up to 5 gases, which is the right count for High Drilling Bane. So it looks like he's just playing High Drilling Bane. Now, if he realized what was happening, I would imagine he's going to stop at... where would you stop droning? Maybe 72. I think 72, maybe 75 at most. And you just want to have an immense army so you can really slap down the push when it comes. You don't really want to like go up to 85 drones. You technically can defend with 85 drones, but the first engagements become absolutely crucial. Now, what I love about this, guys, is the Overseer morphs on the pillar and runs away before the medevacs arrive. But Oliveira's like, no, you don't. I will catch you, idiot. I'm going to bother stimming for that. He's going to have to stim again. It's worth it. You can heal those up with the medevacs later. And that denies the scouting as well. As you can see, guys, the 8 barracks are already on the way. So 2-2 started. He's going to... I wonder, do you think he gets... I don't think he'll get tech labs. I think he just builds Marines out of these barracks. And I think he just goes mass Marine siege tank. He does need to start another siege tank. Very important because you're only going to have usually 2 to 3, probably 3 siege tanks with this push with a 4th one rallying in. And that's your only range damage. What you will have is a crazy amount of Marines with insane upgrades. Now, Rogue's at 74 workers. This is about as perfect a worker count as you could be at if he stops and just builds Ling Bane. But look at that, guys. 4 more drones. He's replacing a drone in the main. Good attention to detail, keeping his saturation up. His creep is great. He's got a really good spread of Zerglings and Changelings looking around, but the scouting continues to be denied. These Marines are coming forward. I think he wants to send... medevacs forward to join with those as well. Indeed, he will. Just to keep up a little bit of pressure and try to get rid of some creep before the push itself moves forward. Now, at this point, Rogue's Spidey senses are tingling. He's on 77 workers, and he's like, nah, just make Ling Bane. He's making a good amount of Ling Bane. 1-1's on the way. These Marines come forward, get rid of a few creep tumors and overlords. Oh, I like this move. Rogue says, look, we'll slow the push down in the front, and the best way to deal with any sort of all-in from Terran is avoid fighting them front on. Counterattack. No, he's already going in. No, not yet. Oh, he thought the push was already coming. He already thought the push was moved out. That's why he went in there. But the problem is now he shows his hand, which means Oliveira will leave a few extra units at home. Oh, Oh, that's a slight misplay for Rogue. I mean, he basically saw this drop and thought it was clearing vision with a push right behind it. And he did misread that, unfortunately. Small mistake for Rogue, but I mean, it's understandable. It's hard to even call it a mistake. It's just a misread. He does free spread creep on the front, but it's a little bit delayed. Here comes the push. Now he sees the army coming. These guys are going to be used as a flanking force on the left. He's got a Loving Bane. If he can jump on it before he's sieged, maybe Rogue can clear this. Oh, but the tank siege is very conservative. I love that play for Oliveira. He's aware of the threat. He's pre-spreading. Oh, but he runs into the Banelings on the right side. The Banelings getting very, very close. They don't really connect, though. The Hellbat Marine spready is good. Rogue is under assault. He's got an accidental rando Calrissian swarm host building right now. And that is not going to help him out. He's got +2 carapace started. The 2-2 is finished for Oliveira. A vicious timing. 4 tanks, 52 Marines, 3 Hellbats, and he's building 12 Marines at a time. Notice no add-ons on these barracks. It's nothing but Marines and tanks rallying across. But his wall-off's wide open, and that's a huge mistake. Oh god, oh god, oh god. The Lings are going to come in. The Lings are going to come in. Oh, the door's down. Okay, the Marines on the ramp should be able to hold with the help of SCVs. Let's see how much chaos that can cause. The tanks are really deep in Rogue's territory. You just have to give this base up. You cannot fight here. You can't fight down this ramp, but Rogue feels like he has to. It's a killing field. My gosh, that ramp turns into a terrible, nightmarish position for the Zerg. And now once the Banelings are gone, the Marines stem forward 2-2 against 1-1. And Oliveira with a very creative build there. 6 Hellions, double upgrades into a vicious 8 racks push. GG, well played. All right. What the hell is going on? We are now going into game 3 on Dynasty. Already had quite a few Americans. It's Dynasty. Dynasty. Yeah, not a bad pronunciation. I don't mind that. Sometimes the difference between, you know, British and American pronunciation, not that I'm British, but we are closer to British than American usually in our pronunciation here in Australia. Though we do split the difference sometimes. We do say dynasty. And you know why? Because winner, chicken dynasty. Dinner. That's what they say. Basically, this map's good for Terran. It's good for Oliveira. So you get a free gold base. And you've got long-range units as Terran. Hard for Zerg to get out Ravagers to try and deny mining there. However, Oliveira is a master of cheese, man. He's a master of... Rogue is a master of cheese, a master of dirty builds. So I do wonder if he just explodes across the map with some Ravager laying and just tries to bust the ramp and kill him. You know, because a lot of the time on this map, I've noticed players get so worried about like, oh, they're going to come here and deny the mining. I'm going to go down there and deny their mining. And they just forget that big, powerful all-ins can still run up this tight ramp and kill you. It's obviously not a great position to attack. It's a tight ramp, but it is definitely possible. For now, Rogue just opens up with the standard blue hatchery. Not going to gamble on trying to take the gold and squeeze a queen through the gap. And I don't mind it. I do think you can just take the 3rd there, the 4th there. You're obviously on the back foot because Terran gets some gold minerals early. Wait, what? Oliveira is not going to take the gold? Now that seems like a missed opportunity, guys. That seems like a massive missed opportunity. Am I crazy? Do you know how expensive it is for Zerg to get over here with like a Ravager and then you just kill it with like a single tank, a Banshee, or a Cyclone? I don't know. I feel like those gold minerals are amazing. I think Oliveira is saying, look, it's Rogue. He's tricky. He's probably going to disrupt my mining too much with some tricky builds. I'm going to play pretty standard just to make myself safer. And you know, against a guy like Rogue, who I expect to do a dirty all-in on this map, it's probably the smart way to play. I thought Oliveira would press for the advantage a little bit more, really put the pressure on Rogue, saying, I've got a gold base. You can't just sit back against a gold base Terran. Oh, okay, so Rogue's going to take the triangle 3rd. Why have I not thought about this? I haven't watched a lot of Zerg vs Terran on this map, so some of you might not be as surprised by this as I am. He's going to go and take the 4th on the bottom. He will take the gold base with the purple gas as his 4th base, but he's going to be using this 3rd base to spread creep out front first of all. That's a really, really cool move by Rogue. I do think there's some scary ledges and cliffs in front of it in the middle of the map that are hard to defend, but the gold base with the purple gas does give you a big payoff if you can get to it. And you know what? He's going to take his 3rd command center pretty quickly anyway on that gold. So, you know what? Not too bad for Oliveira. He's like, dude, it's only a minute later than my natural. So this way I have less risk, but I still get the rewards reasonably early in the game. I think that's pretty smart. Now, you've seen this as Rogue. You haven't seen the 3rd command center yet, but you can probably assume that's going down. Starport does actually drop for the first time in this series nice and early. So we're going to see 2nd gas goes down after Starport. Probably more likely to not be Banshees then. Probably just a Viking, I would imagine. Maybe a Liberator. One of those cheaper gas investments as you aren't going for the 100 gas cloak upgrade that does cost you so much. Rogue, he's got full pulled off gas. His link speed's done. His natural's finished. And he should be rallying to that third. And just as we say it, look at that, guys. 16 in the main, 16 in the natural, rally to the third base. Just stocks, you know, solid, standard Zerg versus Terran. Rule of 1 gas. It's you mine only enough for link speed. You then put workers back on gas somewhere between 3.5 and 4 minutes, which we should be seeing soon. There we go. You see he's already rallied these back on just before 4 minutes, which is kind of the later end of it. Very mineral-focused build order. And then he's not going to take any gas until his third base is full of workers on minerals. So we saw that in the previous 2 games as well. 16 workers on minerals. And then he takes... And this is a way of making sure you can be super solid on your fundamentals. Because what do you need fundamentally as a Zerg? Queens and Lings keep you safe against everything, but they cost a lot of minerals, 0 gas. The drones, the hatcheries, the production and economy is what that represents. That's only minerals as well. Basically, everything you need for the first 6 minutes of Zerg vs. Terran is just a ton of minerals. So you just want to have a minimal bit of gas mining, maximize your minerals, and then as these bases start overflowing with drones, that's when you start taking more gases. That's a really good way of doing it. Hellions will deal with that Zergling that's trying to hide behind the minerals there. Got Stim on the way, and it is indeed Cloaked Banshee, actually. I was incorrect on that. Baneling Nest is already down for Rogue, but his lair's a little bit later, which is interesting. I guess he was just shy on that gas for a moment. We should see that lair start up now. There we go. Third base looking healthy. You notice he's at 16 workers. Now, he does build Spore this time, guys, in every base. How does he know? How does he know that Banshees are the thing this time? I guess because he's seen so many more Hellions. Ooh, there's not that many Zerglings out. Only 11 right now, but he didn't want to risk running in knowing that Rogue would have been quick to pull those drones away. So he's going to build a few more Zerglings as Rogue to be safe. Viking did clean up the Overlord as well, actually. 2 Overlords have gone down. So it is Viking into Banshee. Right. Okay, sorry. Bad observing for me, guys. Bit excited watching these two, man. I'm a big fan of both. For those who don't know, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Rogue. I think Rogue is one of the smartest, most brutal players in StarCraft history, who often doesn't make the game look fair and doesn't give his opponent a chance to even play the game. The reason I hate him is too many big tournament matches with Maru, with Zest, with all sorts of other players, especially Protoss players or Maru. Rogue made them very not fun to watch. It's kind of like when someone's just so dominant at fighting that they always knock out the other guy in the first 6 seconds of the fight. And there's just never a back and forth match. Or when there is, they just kind of lose in an unimpressive fashion. And that's kind of what happened to Rogue sometimes, which is why casting him was always a bit of a bitter pill to swallow. Because you're like, occasionally he'd play a back and forth macro game, but usually he'd either die very one-sidedly or more often than not, he'd destroy his opponent and they'd look like they had no business being in there with him. So it's kind of a weird thing with his style where he just punished people so hard, but I always feel like Zerg vs. Terran delivered his most balanced matchups because there was just less opportunity for him to, or at least he didn't rely on cheese as much as he did in the other matchups and big gambles and things like that, whereas his ZvP is a master class on just tricking the Protoss, mind gaming them, catching them off with tricky moves. Same with his Zerg vs. Zerg. Banshee gets 6 kills. You don't want to lose it, though. Oh, he does lose his second Banshee. That's a not great start for Oliveira. He's lost 2 Banshees for 7 drones. We always say that keeping those Banshees alive is where the real value gets found. Now, the one thing is the Evos are much later this game because he had to build Spore Crawlers and the Queens and defend so many more Hellions by building more Zerglings. So this has slowed down his upgrades, which means he's still about a minute or so behind the 1-1 of Terran. Infestation Pit does go down for him. Wait, is he going? Oh, no Hydras this game, guys. Okay, so Rogue's going to play Ultras, I believe. I think he's going to play Ultras. He could still build a Hydra down and try to go Lurkers, but it looks to me like Massling Bane Ultra. That's a very good style. He's on 78 workers against 60, and it's an all-in again. It's an 8 racks again. Oliveira's just going for a big committed push. This is something that's a real art to defend. And Rogue, I mean, he should be more ready for it, skipping Hydra Tech, but he's on 80 workers. Having a 20 worker advantage puts him down 40 army supply, and he's so Baneling heavy, he doesn't have enough Zerglings here. He does not have enough Zerglings. Oh, he's got some in the north. Nice ambush for Rogue. Has he got enough Lings to kill the tanks, though? There's not any Lings on the tanks, and oh, that's a good fight for Oliveira. This is what I said. You need enough Lings to actually kill the tanks while the Banelings chase off the Marines. If you don't kill the tanks, then the disengage gets very awkward. That was a bad fight there for Rogue. Oliveira with a very decisive push. It's also nice if the Queens can go in first because they tank so much damage. The Queens here have a lot of transfuse, but he needs Banelings. He needs Banelings. He's only got a few morphing. He needs to morph a lot more Banelings than that. Rogue trying to go in right now, but Oliveira stands his ground. Guns down the Marines. One tank falls, but there's nothing left for Zerg. Rogue leaving himself wide open. His gold base is mining down here, but there's no way he can defend that. The gold base is wide open, as is the third. The tank does get picked up momentarily, and Rogue gets hit by an 8-Rax again. Can we check his scouting? Is he not scouting today, guys? He did. He scouted it. He scouted it. So he knew at this moment what was going on. He should not have been droning. Let's check it. Did he look at it, or was he distracted by the Banshee when you're a bit rusty from the military? No, he looked at it. He looked at it right then. He saw the barracks with no add-on, which is a huge tell. The moment you see, this is Rogue's camera, you see a barracks with no add-on, you know, unless he's just finished it and he's just about to build the add-on, that means it's an 8-Rax all in. You should not be droning right now. He builds 2 more drones, and he was above 80, right? Or at 80 drones. So he builds a few more. Once again, guys, his plan at the start of Golden Aura was the correct one. Remember what he even has a changeling seeing the move out. He sees just Marines and Medivacs to start. He builds another drone, an infestation pit. He should be counterattacking. He should have sent most of his army down here, wait for the army to get to the middle, run at it, force it to siege, and then pull back before the fight actually starts. So you feign aggression. You go, whoa, look, I'm going at you. And then, as he pushes beyond that ridge, that's when your counterattack hits from the right, and you smash his production. He just built another 3 drones. And Overlord speed, and an infestation pit. No, you can't be going for all this stuff. He should just be injecting. He's also building another queen, which is bizarre. He did inject that hatchery down there. So Rogue's trying to inject all of his hatcheries, which is interesting. But yeah, this fight was like a mass Baneling engage. He just doesn't have enough Zerglings to actually, and Queens to get rid of the tanks, and I think he just chases a bit too far as well. I just don't think he needs to fight. Like, if you think about this, guys, his 1-1's not even done. Oh, that makes no sense to fight then. Yeah, no. Fighting 25 seconds before 1, all he needed to do was force him to siege, pull back, do a counterattack, and then a little bit later when your upgrades are done, that's when you want to fight. But 5 Overlords are necessary because you know after the first fights and skirmishes, you're going to be losing units. So waste of 500 minerals. You don't really need a hive, though. I don't mind the hive, but the Overlord speed, the extra drones after scouting an 8-Rax, the 5 Overlords, and fighting before 1-1, Rogue needs to piece this together and be much tighter because Oliveira has just found his weak spot. 8-Rax 2 games in a row. He might just do it 3 games in a row. Rogue has to tighten this up. All right, nice 8-Rax timings for Oliveira. Let's see what lessons Rogue can learn. We know what those lessons are after looking at that last replay. Number 1, only fake the engagement until 1-1's almost finished. Number 1. Number 2, counterattack to buy more time. Distract him. Number 3, don't keep building drones once you scout the 8-Rax. Rogue scouting was actually brilliant. He just didn't react hard enough. Going for Overlord speed, 5 extra unnecessary Overlords, an infestation pit, a hive, and about 8 extra drones, 8 to 9, maybe 10 extra drones after scouting the 8-Rax with no add-ons. Tells me that Rogue either didn't fully comprehend what he was up against, or he just felt a little bit arrogant, a little bit like, nah, man, I've had a smooth opening, we can do this. Which, especially when you account for the gold base of Oliveira on that last map, is not the case. Now, he's doing the same opening again, which I think I'm fine with. I think it's a pretty solid opening. Uh-oh. 1 Zergling. First Zergling has died. The tilt's setting in, guys. Just kidding. Crimson Court's an interesting map. It's very cramped, and it does feel like the Terran pushers can be quite oppressive. I've actually really found a fair bit of success on this map, but that's, you know, you guys know I play a very weird style. I play Roach, Infesta, up that tech tree, and transitioning into Ling Ultra and/or Broodlord, and then back into the more Ultra Ling Bane Corruptor standard style. Well, I say standard, no one really uses Corruptors, but Corruptors are the best counter to Medivacs and Libs in terms of just, if you want to just jump on an army, they're very good at that. So they can't really hot pick up, whereas Hydras, they sometimes can get away with some hot pickups and boosting away, but you can't really do that against Corruptors. Rogue has not shown any inclination of changing his style, other than in that last game wanting to go Ultras and skip the Hydras, but it was off the exact same opening up to that point, which I think is a perfectly fine opening. Normally, the architecture of this map's not going to work for him, though, because it's just these 2 narrow lanes through the middle with cliffs above it. Ling Bane's terrible here. If you play Ling Bane front on, you're going to be screwed. So if he plays Ling Bane, he needs to break the rocks, try to open up minerals on the sides, and basically maybe expand to these edge bases. Because if you're fighting front on with just Ling Bane, you're going to get hammered. You need to surround them or counterattack them. So that's something we're going to see, like, how well is Rogue adjusted. And keep in mind, guys, this game was played a little while ago, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. We will be covering more of Rogue's games from the following 2 weeks after he played this series over the next few days, so we can continue to track Rogue's progress and see. Because I feel like the first tournaments back, a player is like a little bit rusty, and then you see them very quickly develop. We tracked this with Hero when he came back from the military, with Gumiho when he came back from the military, a lot of those players. And we saw really quick improvement. I think Hero was the first one to just like instantly start winning tournaments. I think he was the quickest because Hero is such a... And he was playing really old builds as well, which maybe worked in his favor. Because like with Hero, you could tell he had literally not updated his builds since he'd retired or to go to the military in 2019. And he instantly was beating people. Well, as soon as he came back in, was it late 2021, early 2022? So it was kind of funny to see that. I was like, oh, he's using old builds. I don't think he's going to do well. Oh, he beat someone. Oh, he beat someone really good again. Oh, he won a weekly cup. But, you know, that's the nature of having very awesome, aggressive timing attacks and things like that. 3 barracks on the way after the Cloaked Banshees. 3rd command center is up as per usual. Exact same opening here. Bailey Nest into Lair, into Double Evo while going up to 4 gas. Yeah, Rogue is really doing this like clockwork. He's only got 5 lings. Oh no, he's only got 5 lings! The 8 Hellion run by. Notice he pulls his lings back to block the ramp, but that means this natural is wide open. You know what? Good calm reaction though. He doesn't stack his drones. He's just pulling them away a little bit at a time. Oh god, oh god. Good pullback. Dude, that was great. Rogue just shut that down. He didn't even build many Zerglings. He only built a few Zerglings. He gets 8 Hellions for 10 drones. He's going to get the last one. Yeah, no, that's actually a good trade for Rogue. As long as he drones up and defends the Banshees, which he sees coming. So he's got plenty of time to respond. He's not building spores. Oh, he doesn't build a spore in the 3rd. Greedy boy Rogue, guys. Greedy boy Rogue. He knows his lair's about to finish, so he's going to rely on that Overseer. Oh, man. Not having a spore in the 3rd has to be a mistake. He thinks he's got a spore here, guys. He thinks he's got a spore crawler here. Okay, we'll lose the 4th base. That kind of sucks. He's opened up the right side, so he should expand there as well. Yeah, immediately expands to the right side. 6 minutes is not too late for a 4th. It's not great, but it's not too bad. And he's morphed an Overseer now, which is morphing, I don't know where, but 2 queens and a spore in the main should be okay. Guys, where is that Overseer? Am I blind? Oh, there we go. It's coming from the left, but yeah, this is a little bit greedy from Rogue, man. The spore should be prioritized in the natural and the 3rd. The spore in the main is the one that you should skip. If you're going to skip a spore, it's that one in the top right of our screen. 11 drones go down. That's costly. The first wave might not have been that effective for Oliveira, but the second one is. Does lose a mule and an SCV, though. That's a nice, efficient run by for Rogue. Banshee's surviving is probably the most important thing here. Now, you can still drone your 4th up even while it's building. I think a lot of Zergs forget that sometimes. Problem... his hatcheries are all rallied to his 3rd. I'd like to see him send those out to this 4th on the right side. He's going to have to defend that from a double drop moving out. 2nd factory into armory coming down now for Ollie. Guys, is that a 4th command center? What the hell? How early is this 4th base? Oh my god, this is Maru's greedy build that he does on Alcyon when he thinks he's got way better late game than his opponent. Oliveira is just taking an insanely early 4th on the planetary on the rich gas. Whoa, he must have started that at like 5:30. That is crazy. And he's keeping this Rogue on the back foot. And he's already up in workers. Unless Rogue can hit a timing attack, this is a scary thing to be happening. Now, where's his scouting at? We're on Rogue's camera. Guys, Rogue has no idea about the 4th command center. No idea. Don't get me wrong, this is the same command center that he saw landed on the 3rd later. So you might be thinking, oh, you can see it there. No, that's the same one. It's from 2 different scouting trips that we're looking at there. Drilling Claws is on the way. 2-2 hasn't quite started. He's clearing the creep. So Rogue's on the back foot on 70 drones. And guys, he's paranoid about getting hit by an 8-rax. So he's making all the adjustments that he screwed up in the last game. +2 carapace. Don't keep... No, I mean, he is still droning. And he's going Hydras and Overlord speed, so he's still getting a lot of bonus things. He's just not scouting this game. He's trying to send Zerglings to get info, but he has no idea about this rich cast base. And there's already a big army on the front as well. Dude, Oliveira is looking so confident. That tank positioning is brilliant. A few Marines to guard it would be good. Otherwise, Zerglings can take it out. Baneling's attacking from one side is not good. Remember, I said that. He's going to attack from one side. The Ling Bane running down the ramp. He has the numbers, though, and he's on creep. I think Rogue can clear this. The Baneling connections are massive on the left side of that. That's better. That is better for Rogue. Even though he attacked from one side, Oliveira was just a bit too deep on creep. Queens might not do a lot of damage, but they also don't take that much from siege tanks as they're not armored units. That tank goes down, and Rogue stabilizes. 12 more workers go down. I mean, if this was not such a good position for Oliveira, I'd say he's screwed after a fight like that because he loses so much momentum. But he's got a 5th command center on the way. He's got a planetary on the 4th. And Rogue still doesn't know what's going on in this game. He has no idea about this. 8 racks are coming up. There's going to be Widow Mines mixing in. So Widow Mine and tank production. Vehicle weapons on the way. 6th command center building. Rogue now has a big economy. But he's going to have to show us some excellent late game. And we have not seen him clear any of the rocks on this map. We have not seen him open up any of the minerals or go for a Nidus Worm. And those are the things he will need the longer this game goes. Otherwise, his multi-prong will not be able to keep up with Oliveira expanding and pushing slowly through the middle. And he's always going to be taking favorable fights. Just due to the nature of Terran combined with the one-directional nature of these 2 lanes in the middle of the map. Just had to mute myself there for a bit of a coffee cough. We don't mind. We'll take out a few Banelings. Decent spread from Rogue. I think Rogue's doing a pretty good job expanding along the edge. It's just that the creep control is what worries me for his setup. I like that he's getting the lurkers again, though. We saw that back on Oceanborn, it felt like Oliveira struggled against the lurkers pretty hard. The 3 command centers in the production tab, it's just so good for him, though. Not to mention, he's just built a ton of tech labs, so he's got 8 racks production up with Marauders now as well. Widowmine takes out an Overseer, almost gets a second one, does lose a few Marines going for that double Overseer snipe. Does pull back for now. 2-2 is finished for both sides. Neither side has started 3-3 just yet. It's very expensive to start 3-3. 500 minerals, 500 gas. It's not cheap. A few extra Overlords building to keep Rogue on supply blocked. Widowmine dropping the right side, not a bad move for Oliveira, just to keep Rogue busy. Now, we haven't seen Lurker upgrades, nor have we seen 3-3. Rogue needs to get a move on that. Hive is finished. No Vipers either. Rogue definitely needs to continue that tech. To be fair, 3-3 is not started for Ollie either. Both sides a little bit distracted right now. I think Bane running around the middle. He's looking to swarm this army. Ooh, this is a crazy fight. He's going to come in from 2 sides. Well, he will get rid of that tank very quickly. Nice way to evict the Terran. The tanks, though. The tanks on the high ground. My God, those tanks are blasting the Banelings. The Baneling wave is huge, though. He's chucking a Shin right now. Rogue is chucking a Shin. For those who don't know, Shin is known for taking hundreds of Banelings and smashing them into choke points. But that was actually a great choice for Rogue. If he can defend at home, that northern base gets evacuated. His Lings will clean up at least a few of these Marines. The Marines were fighting the hatchery. And you know what? Worth sacrificing a few Lings if you can save the hatchery. Oh, good focus fire, though, for Oliveira. He does change it up. Factory goes down. These tanks getting jumped on by Zerglings. That one does get cleaned up there. Widowmine does do a bit of friendly fire. But nice moves, man. I really love this move by Rogue. He blows up the middle base. Problem is, there's a southern base. He now needs to rotate to that right side of the map, blow that one up on the Remax, and then it's actually game over. It's actually a sick comeback from it. A pretty rough start for Rogue, but a great clearance on the first push here. Another great pushback of the army in the middle to blowing up this middle base, but he doesn't know about the base. Rogue's vision is lacking. He should know there's sensor towers here. You know this base is taken. You know this one isn't. Attacking the middle again is a crazy move, but he's going to do it, and it could work out. It could work. He doesn't have any Banelings. He's got to get in there before the planetary finishes. It's going to finish in 5 seconds. Lings are flooding through. Blinding Cloud on top of the planetary and the tank. Planetary gets cancelled. Orbital goes down. Oh, Rogue all over it. He's going to kill 2 command centers. He gets the tank down there. The Widowmine's friendly firing. Massive plays for Rogue, but the counterattack's coming in. Banshees on the top left. More importantly, Marines on the right side. Remember, Rogue's losing his edge base control. He already lost the top left. Now he's going to lose the right side. He is trying to just rush in and do more damage himself. A tank on the high ground. Will it save these SCVs? It does. That tank fire in the bio does defend the SCVs. The factories are burning down. The Lings will bleed into that mineral line where the Ghosts will defend them on the right side. The hatchery does survive. Left side, he needs to defend that hatchery. Rogue, oh God, if he loses this hatchery again, that will be a big problem. I mean, he has the middle one, so maybe not that big a problem. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Rogue's up 40 supply. And it does look like Rogue is in a very good position in this game. He's killed, I think, like 5 command centers. He killed a planetary, an orbital, and a command center at 3. Feels like 5, clearing that whole middle area. This right side is still wide open. Like I said, guys, if he just gets down here, morphs some banelings, he can blow this base up, and it's actually lights out. He still hasn't started breaking the rocks. After this next attack, he needs to break those rocks. Now, Oliveira is going back to control the middle. That's really bad for him. He just doesn't have any vision, and honestly, he's going to move nothing down there. He just has to give this position up when this attack comes in. Maybe go for a counterattack. Hydra's in the middle to stop the Widow Mine drop. Nice move there for Rogue. I like that. 3-3 is finally on the way for both sides. Very delayed in this game. That's okay. Hydra's on the front are kind of hanging out. He's just distracting. This is a distraction force in the middle for Rogue, guys. He's trying to just distract him. Don't go in there. Oh, God, the Hydras are throwing their lives away. It was meant to be a distraction. They end up distracting by throwing their lives away, which effectively, it does do the job, but probably could have done it a little bit better. The SCVs do go down, as does that planetary. Should probably take out the Sense Tower as well. Oliveira, buoyed by that snipe on the Hydras, is actually going to run in the middle of the map like a crazy person. Oliveira is showing the chaotic style that he used to be known for. It is exactly the opposite of what he did to win the World Championship, but he's going for it now, and Rogue leaving some openings. Rogue does get a nice run by on the third, though. Kills everything there, dude. He's all over it. Rogue's all over it. He just needs to stabilize against this push. The Hydraling coming forward. He's trying to take it out. The snipes and the Hydras are big. Oh, Rogue's kind of bleeding into this. Rogue, I don't know why he's fighting right here. He already lost the base. He's not waiting for Banelings. He's trying to clean it up so that they don't get any deeper. The Queens will take out the Liberators, but an unnecessarily risky trade here for Rogue. Rogue just needs to gather his units, but he's kind of F2ing into the middle. He's finally going to clean this army up, but man, that took a while. He gets on top of it after all that time. But that was crazy sloppy on the trades. If he didn't lose all those Hydras on the front, he never would have even lost this base. The Hydra Baneling could have deflected the counterattack in the middle, and Oliveira would be out of this game. As it is, Oliveira's economy is out of this game. He's got no money, but he does have a slight army supply advantage. Basically, Oliveira's all in. He needs to do massive damage right here, right now. And Rogue needs to buy time. If he wins one more fight, he wins the game. Ling run by is going to be huge. He's coming in for the run by. Banelings roll forward. Rogue's got to be careful about getting baited in. Oh, all the Banelings go down. Lings are on top of that base. Lings going after the SCV. Southern base. Lings are in there as well. He's got to give this base up, though. He can't counterattack and win the fight at the same time, but Rogue's trying to do everything at once. Ooh, I mean, he doesn't have enough Lings. Yeah, there's no... Wait, is he going to overwhelm? It's a crazy choice to send all your Lings across the map and then fight on the front. It doesn't make any sense, unfortunately, and it's going to cost him big time. He loses that fight badly. He should have given this hatchery up and given up ground. His Lings were butchering Oliveira's economy on the other side of the map. He just needs to say, I'm going to kill all your economy. I'll give up one of my 3 mining bases, and I'll be way ahead. But unable to make that decision in the heat of the action, the chaos. And you got to say, the experience has to be an issue here. Oliveira is still desperately all in, but he's got double the army supply, and now he's going to get a second mining base, which is massive. Oh, I think he... Oh, the Lings find the tank. Lings find the tank. Nice counterattack for Rogue. Rogue cleans up the tank. This is buying himself a lot of time. Snipe on the Queen does take it out. We've got nothing but Lings, Bane, and Adrenal Glands on the way. Adrenal Glands was not made, which is massive. We've seen a lot of Ling-verse Biofights where that would have been huge. Lings are going to run across and deal with the rally. That is massive. Great move for Rogue. If he can clean up the rally, that will be huge. Marines and medevacs try to gather. Drones running away right now. Guys, he's out of money now. He has more drones, but there's nowhere to mine from. It's only this base on the right side. And if he's dropping mules, mules will more than make up for that. Because remember, he's got 4 orbitals. He drops a ton of mules. That's going to be a big income advantage right now for Oliveira, who's already got the army advantage. And he can just pick on up and get out of there whenever he gets in trouble because there's no mobile anti-air. I cannot believe Oliveira is back in this game. This all came back to those Hydras overcommitting on the front for the distraction, getting sniped, and then the counterattack killing this base. Like it would have been so one-sidedly different if that sequence didn't happen, because now we've had the follow-up sequence into the follow-up sequence where the counterattacks of Rogue have been excellent, but his frontal defenses have been not what we're used to from Rogue, right? I think that's a fair analysis, is that Rogue's counterattacks and his overall where he's putting his army at what time is beautiful. It's actually beautiful, but then it's just like the one missing piece we've seen multiple times is he then commits to a fight on the front with a tiny section of his army against the Terran's entire army. When it's like, dude, just give up ground. You know, Oliveira is so committed to these pushes that the winning condition is those counterattacks and just biding time. But Rogue, he's been a bit overeager. Oh, the Banelings are getting hammered. The gay Banelings get nothing. The Banelings only get 6 SCVs. Lift the command center, lift the command center. Oh, he's just going to fight. Even the SCVs go into the battle. He cleans up the Lurker Baneling. And Oliveira with a sick comeback. Dude, that sequence. I can't believe that game turned around so suddenly, and new maps and being a little awkward on them has to lead into that a little bit. I can't believe it. Oliveira was looking kind of screwed. If we go back to this point in this game, I just want to point this out. Even losing this hatchery does not matter that much. You know, he's on 87 workers. He's got 1, 2, 3 full... Well, actually, that's down to just a few mineral patches, but full mineral base, half a mineral base, half a mineral base. Still got a few mineral patches in the main even going. And on the other hand, you know, you've lost a ton of economy. So if you lose this bottom base, you're dead. And I really like the way Rogue set this up. Like, you can tell his setup's great. Ling Bane Viper down there. So he's like, cool, we're going to bust this. But he even has the Hydras in the middle, deflects the Widowmine drop, and he even adds Ling Bane. So all of his reinforcing units are all on this main army group. Its job is to be like, look, Oogie Boogie, I'm about to attack you on the front. Ooh. But he just didn't need to really do that. Of course, he doesn't know what we know. The entire army is here. So he thought he needed to distract a bit more. As it is, this was wide open. He never needed to distract in hindsight. All there was a single Banshee and a planetary hit. But he loses all of those Hydras, and then Oliveira just immediately counter swings. And then his Lings kind of run in. His Banes are a little bit slow. And you can tell Rogue's organization was struggling a little bit. Like, I understand why he rolled the Banelings in. But once again, guys, if he just grabs these drones, clicks them on the top hatchery, pulls back, waits for more Lings and Banes, this is fine. But he goes in with a few units and leaves his drones there until a bit later. And then that leads to more fights, where he once again goes in with just a few units. Why? Why is Rogue fighting here? He doesn't need to. Pull back. Let him come to you. Wait for more Lings. Wait for more Banes. Get the Queens on the... Imagine if these Queens came in, then the Ling Bane Hydra comes in behind that. You know, this is a very different scenario. And you can see how quickly things fall apart in the heat of the moment. And it's so easy to make these mistakes. These are the mistakes I make on a daily basis, often 10 times more in each game for what Rogue's doing. But we're seeing that against a guy like Oliveira, that is enough to take him down. And these two tanks barely managed to defend this mineral line. I think if those Lings committed into that mineral line and killed all those workers and maybe got these tanks, maybe that would have actually been better. But as it is, dude, Rogue, he's playing like 95% an awesome StarCraft game. He's just missing a few percentage points in these clutch situations to make the right decisions. All right, well, man, he's playing clutch. And honestly, he's forcing mistakes with weird, unexpected aggression. And that's exactly what you need to do against Rogue. If you guys go back and watch Maru up against Rogue, 2017 to 2019 to 2020, like those years, a lot of the time they'd have these big run-ins. And I feel like Rogue would often be winning, and then Maru would just like shove in with a crazy, unexpected timing of Marines. And Rogue would just be like a bit shy on Banelings and he'd just die. Rogue's weakness in Zerg vs. Terran has always been he's better in a slower strategy game, and when the game gets really fast and intense, he just doesn't build enough insurance for himself. And this is something like the old Rogue at his peak, arguably best player in the world, the times when he'd lose to Maru, it would literally be he'd shut down Maru's push, he'd be way ahead, and then he'd be like, I'm gonna build 30 drones and then just chill. And Maru would like come in with like 30 Marines and just stim them in, kill the 5 Banelings and win the game because Rogue was just being a little greedy and not making Banelings. Or you know, he didn't pull back enough and give himself room to fight. And that's something that happened a lot. Like Maru and Rogue had some of the weirdest teammate matches ever over the years because they were on the same team practicing a lot together and there's a lot of mind games, but definitely something that Rogue's got to watch out for. And in this series especially, pulling back, giving himself more time on those frontal fights is going to be massive. Don't forget, Rogue has a 0% win rate versus Serral. Now, that's not accurate, Joaz. You're leaving out part of the stat. At live tournaments, when they are playing at LAN in person, he's like 0-4 or something like that in big series versus Serral. However, he did 4-0 Serral online in one of the quickest, most one-sided series ever in that TSL finals. Probably the saddest grand finals Serral's ever played in his life. Serral online ZvZ is a little scary. He's a little bit weaker in the online ZvZ. He had a few rough times in that year, and then we got back to LAN, and once again, Serral's ability to focus under pressure and perform at those live tournaments just better than anybody else once again came to the fore. Don't forget, I thought we only count live events. I mean, if you say you're only counting live events, I think those are more important. Yeah, I agree they're more important, but I just don't think we should be shouting stats out like that without explaining them, you know? Like, Rogue has never beaten Serral. You know, that's kind of what you said there, which is not true. Whereas it's like, hey, Rogue's never beaten Serral at the big tournaments. He's never beaten him at LAN. And that's a different statement. It's still very important and impactful, but a lot of people have never beaten Serral at land, let's be real. Third CC into Banshee, but this is the innovation Banshee build, guys. He used this at the World Championship. He's not going Cloak. It just gives him a little bit extra money to go for a slightly faster stim, double engineering bay, 3 barracks. He just gets into the next stage of the game. And if he's lucky, the Banshee still force Spore Crawlers in each base. He forces an Overseer to be made. So you still get the same reaction out of the Zerg, but then the Banshee kind of pokes in, kills one drone, and just flies away. And he will even go 2 Banshees. So they're still very useful defensively, but you just never dive them in and lose them. They're used for the counterattacks. I think Pig underestimates the level of his Twitch chat. Most of us have never lost to Serral. That's objectively true. I do. Yeah, I guess I underestimated you guys. This guy in chat is like, one time I beat Florencio. Am I a pro gamer? Ooh, Roach transition from Rogue, guys. Now he's opened Ling Speed. Rogue is the master of pretending he's playing Queen Zergling and then actually going Roaches. It's weird that he built the Roach Warren at the front, though. It is a little weird, but notice he's still gone 9 Queens and 13 Zerglings. So he wants to convince Oliveira that he's actually playing the same style, and then he's going to surprise him with a 1-1 Roach all-in. I don't think Rogue macros off Roaches pretty much ever. I would guarantee you 66 drones, double upgrade Roach all-in. His Evo chambers need to go down right about now, guys. Yep, there we go. Because if you wait too much longer, your timing will hit too late. Now, if he can hide this from him, this will be brilliant. I'm really happy I talked about Rogue versus Maru, because go and watch their Katowice semifinals matches in those years I was talking about. The number of times Maru wrecked Rogue in macro against Ling Bane, and then Rogue did this exact build and won every single time with it. Like, Rogue almost always beat Maru with this build, because Maru would just assume it's a Ling Bane build. He'd move out with his Marine tank. 40 Roaches with 1-1 and Roach speed would dive on his army, kill him, and just instantly win the game. He's done that to Maru many times while Maru was easily the best Terran in the world. Let's see if he can pull it off against Oliveira. Oliveira has no idea just yet that this is happening. He hasn't seen the Roach Warren. He's seen most of the signs of a normal game. No 4th base yet, though. This is where his spidey senses start to tingle. Oliveira's like, wait, why don't you have a 4th? That 4th easily should have been down by now. He sees the Roaches! Rogue! Rogue messed up. Rogue just revealed his Roaches, guys. Oh no, the all-in is much weaker now. We should see non-stop tank production. The tanks need to stay on the high ground, or in like maybe center it here, and if he gets a few bunkers. If he gets bunkers and buildings blocking that area, and maybe something blocking here a little bit, it's really hard. If you center your tanks all here, just spread them out slightly so they can't get hit by the biles. All you need to do is defend, and especially with Banshees, your Roach Ravager, your Ravagers will get picked off as they move across the map. So as long as the Banshees stay on the defense, I think you should be safe as Oliveira. That being said, Oliveira is already moving out, and Rogue's droning. Rogue realizes after being scouted, he can't commit to it, so he's actually going to transition to Hive. He's going to go Baneling Nest, Infestation Pit. He's not going to commit to the 1-1 Roach timing, and I think it's probably the right call, but honestly, if he just didn't show those Roaches, he could get away with this. He could have gone for the 1-1 Roach all-in, and I think it would have been really hard for Oliveira to find out. Now, Oliveira was going for an 8 racks, guys, but he's reacting with Tech Labs after seeing the Roaches and saying, well, I can still do this as a macro build. He could do this as an all-in, but he needs to build a 4th command center if he wants to transition. If he doesn't start a 4th, no, he hasn't even, he's cut workers. He's actually just going to do a maxed out all-in. Oh, this is a hard counter to Rogue's build. Guys, Rogue's build is hard counter, but this is the exact same build that Oliveira used in Game 5 against Raynor on Babylon at the World Championship that he won. Same opening for Rogue as what Raynor did, and same counter build that Oliveira is doing. The counter, the Roaches are really good in the mid game, but if you max out with 2-2 Marine Marauder tank, the Roaches fall off really hard. And you can see he's trying to get into Baneling tech now, but you need Hive. Honestly, you need like a Viper, and you need a lot of time to transition into that mass Ling Bane army as Rogue. Rogue's got 83 workers. He's got a 20 worker advantage. He's got a lot of supply in Queens and Roaches that are very low value units when you're maxed out. That's a ton of supply in units that aren't good. And he's probably not going to have enough Ling Bane to actually get on top of the Marines and Marauders. The problem with this army is so much of your supply is in tanky, fat, ranged units. They block your Banelings, and you don't have enough Zerglings in the front line. So your Banelings kind of all just get blown up without connecting. and then you just get wrecked. Don't get me wrong, it's an all-in from Oliveira. There's no fourth command center. His 2-2's not quite done yet. He's trying to get a nice forward position so he can start finding the trades. But Dark is in trouble right now. He's on Mass Roach Ravager with a handful of Link Bane. Baneling Speed's almost finished. It will be ready. But there's Marauders, a giant pre-spread, and the creep is starting to recede as those tumors get cleaned up. Oliveira not giving Rogue the time. A massive pre-spread. This is a huge setup. How the hell? Look at that. It's the Banelings. The Banelings do get close, but none of the Banelings are connecting. One of the tanks does go down on the front line. A few Banelings do get in on the south side. Another tank falls. If he can break the tank line, this could work out for Rogue. But those Biles miss that tank. The Banelings don't do anything, and he gets absolutely rolled by that big 8 racks push. Another 8 racks. It was a different variety this time, but that is the perfect timing. He doesn't even wait for 2-2. I told you guys that when you're maxed out as Terran, up against this army, the Roach Ravager and the Queen fall off super hard because they do no damage. Roaches, very low damage. They get stuck behind each other. They're not... The Queens do literally nothing except tank. They're not going to do any damage. And the Ling Bane doesn't synergize well with this. And this has always been the weak point of playing Roach Ravager into Ling Bane, is if you don't do a lot of damage with the Roach Ravager, but you still commit to so much of it, your transition sucks. So you want to either trade the Roach Ravager by going for the big 1-1 timing and then transition without having so much supply in Roach Ravager, and especially not so much in Queens. 9 Queens is way too many for this style. The other Zergs, they tend to open up Roaches instead of Ling Speed, which is a more efficient way of getting to the Roaches, and because they do that, they're only on 5 or 6 Queens. Because Rogue was trying to do a 1-1 surprise all-in and trick him with the Queen Ling, he was even less efficient at getting to the Roaches, and he invested even more in Queens, and then he invested so much in Roaches as well. So Rogue ended up basically investing too much into the early game fake out with the Queens, too much into the Roach Ravager without getting any payoff, and then Oliveira is hitting a 9-minute maxed out timing attack, and it's just a much better army. Much higher damage, great long-range units, the tanks get crazy value, and the Banelings add nothing in this scenario. Almost nothing, and this is something I've been explaining for a while, is if you have an awkward transition of Roach Ravager, you're literally better off having like Infestors and trying to tech fast Broods or Ultras or something like that. Because if you go straight to Banelings here, like I said, they're useless in this scenario. Until they have a lot of Lings and Ultras and stuff in front of them, the Banelings are garbage. And we've seen this exact scenario multiple times. It's the reason I talk about Infestors a lot in these sort of games, because if you overcommit to Roach Ravager, that is objectively the better transition. It's why you'll see Dark get 2 to 3 Infestors and actually play Lurkers instead of a Ling Bane transition sometimes, because it's a smoother transition off of the Roach Ravager. Even if it's not as much of a good long-term strategy, it will shut down these sort of pushes a little bit better because you can ambush them further out here and try to deal with them there. Last point before we finish up, guys. I think... Could he have engaged this pusher earlier? I think he could have. So I think with this sort of army, you need to be out here and forcing the tanks to siege and buying time. If you force him to siege back there, pull back, he moves forward, force him to siege here, you can be picking at him. You also want a few more Ravagers, so you can be dropping Biles on him as well. Infestors are great because you can use it from range, whereas Banelings need to get right on top of them to commit. But if he's running forward like this, you run in, he sees Infestors, he has to siege and spread. And you can just pull back. And you can buy yourself a bit of time, and even if you end up giving up this base, you transfer these drones to this northern base, and then your Broodlords are out, and you're actually in an okay position. Not saying this is ideal, but Rogue's opening was super scuffed, and you have to make some sort of adjustment to your game plan when your opening doesn't go the way you want. So, unfortunate, but if we want to rewind one more time to point that out, guys, it was all about letting these Roaches pop out here on the third base and revealing that. This was a huge mistake for Rogue, and it really cost him. It was this point here, guys. Hellions run in, and he just runs his Roaches up and kind of goes, ah. And it looks like it was even on purpose, which really confuses me. I don't know why Rogue had these Roaches with his army. That's a bit of a mistake. Maybe he was just worried about the Hellions doing damage, but that costs him big time, man. That really costs him. Because his Queens were distracted by the Banshees? Yeah. That's unfortunate. Either way, I'm really impressed. I think Rogue is 9 out of 10 of the way to playing a fantastic ZvT, if not 9.5 out of 10, 95% like I said before. I think he's going to be back in no time. So let's tune in over the next few days and see what else he's been achieving in the rest of these online cups. GG, well played, Oliveira.